In the last days of summer, a quiet moment of grief for mom, Cyrus Mason.
He had a heart of gold. His soul, he wouldn't hurt anyone. He just was a pure spirit.
According to investigators, her son, Cyrus Mason, was shot and killed at Houghton Beach Park on Wednesday night in Kirkland. Mason had turned 18 years old just 2 months ago.
That's the last photo that Cyrus and I have together.
Overnight Wednesday, Kirkland police, with help from Washington State Patrol, combed the crime scene. Divers in the water looking for any evidence. Witnesses telling police they heard gunshots and saw 2 men running from the park. Police say Mason did know his killer, though his mom says her son was robbed and murdered.
I want them to understand that he was here visiting his family. He comes from a small town. He wasn't out here causing problems. He was just enjoying the beautiful scenery.
Mason grew up in rural Idaho, came to Western Washington to work as a painter's apprentice. His life was cut short. His family is now looking for answers. The family of Cyrus Mason is asking anyone with any information about his murder to come forward. You're asked to contact Kirkland Police, and as always, you can remain anonymous. Police have yet to release a description of Mason's shooter, yet to reveal any more information about what may have led to his killing. This, as Mason's mother is only beginning to mourn.
Somebody please help us find who did this to him. We're devastated.
In Kirkland, Sebastian Robertson, King 5 News.